started engaging or moving, and I'm so intent on what's going on. I'm in the moment, and all of a sudden, I get thrown to the ground. I get thrown to the turret of my vehicle, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? I look up, and he's yelling at me. I can't hear him because I have the headset on. And I finally yell, why did you do that? And he says, sir, there are artillery rounds landing right next to our vehicle. You didn't even
Pathfinder Ryder, here to see Nilken Rancis.
Ah, our murderer. Wife's here all the time. Guess she told you her sob story. Nilken, you're moving up.
The Pathfinder, huh? They called in the big guns to exile Andromeda's foot.
Your wife's all broke. Why don't you tell me what happened?
I was part of the futile effort to set up a colony on Eos. We were on our last legs, overrun by hostiles, our leader dead. The security chief, Reynolds, my friend, he refused to call for evacuation. I argued with him. Everyone saw.
We practice with moving targets to look just like that.
Last I checked, getting into a spat wasn't against the law.
There's more. He ordered us to regroup and counterattack. We were moving through a sandstorm. I saw movement, thought it was the Ket, and I guess I panicked and fired. Witness saw the chief's chest explode.
Sartieno creates a lethal see and shoot combination. The Bradleys, with their superior targeting systems,
I'm so sorry, that's awful.
We were close. Everyone's certain I did it on purpose so we could evacuate. Only my work. That maybe there's still.
You imagine putting something that's about as round as a grapefruit 2 miles away onto something that's as big as...
No news on the Turian arc yet. Or is this militia business? Yes, our first murder. The mutiny here on Nexus was probably inevitable, but this acted as a spark.
It doesn't seem right.
Despite the lack, his only defense was, trust me, I didn't mean to do it.
And you assume he's lying.
What's a lie to a murder? Look, knock yourself out. And there's as far as I'm concerned, this case is closed. You...
All of a sudden, Jeff Carlrick's Sergeant has been hit.
The Nexus versus colonist Nilken, evidence 7A.
Hiram! Hiram! They've seized the compound! Call for evacuation! We're not giving up, Nilken. We're taking it back. No! I'm not letting your ego get us killed! Even if I have to...
Team leaders reporting back.
No! Get him off me! Get him off me!
Rushing blow to the Talon mechanized division. But just as it seems they will emerge from the battle unscathed, one of Ghost Troop's Bradley fighting vehicles takes a direct hit.
Cassidy Shaw? I'm Ryder. I'm looking into the...
Oh man, I thought that was... Have you heard the audio?
Yes.
I helped pull him off. Then in the sandstorm, I had a pretty clear view of the chief. He looked right at Nilken and shouted no. Then his chest burst open. I'll never forget it. The look on his face was...
Did you see it?
Nilken said so, but not that I could. Still, the sandstorm was severe. Visibility wasn't great. Could have been guilt. The reality of the act sinking in.
The BMP
If they...
is a lightly armored
Front...
fighting
But
vehicle like the Bradley.
to me, that's the saddest part.
A high-velocity Sable.
In retrospect, it is ironic.
It's still operational.
It can...
Armed with a 76mm semi-automatic cannon, the BMP has more than enough
Please address concerns first.
Staff Sergeant Chaffee, the Bradley Command. He said that Andy turned and looked at him. And said, what was that? About that time, the second round hit. Decapitated Sergeant Moore.
Hello, Pathfinder. Hello. Director Tan is expecting you.
Last time I was here, this was a storage closet.
Pathfinder Hall just needed...
Not good enough.
We don't...
Hey, Ryder. Addison told me about the outpost. You're the hero of the hour.
But I got a job to do. This fight is not over. You're in the middle of it.
Oh, I never doubted you. It was the others. They don't share our vision. And yours are the first trophies to grace Pathfinder Hall. That's...
Careful.
The battle of
I remind...
Acting director.
This isn't the time for arguing over who gets to be king. Too much is at stake. We should be cooperating.
That's what I've been saying since we arrived.
I have concerns about your decision.
And we can argue about what is your plan.
If the other Golden World...
You might...
Though with art. Yes, I think that's best. You have my permission.
I wasn't really...
They started out the battle with about 200 tanks, and barely 24 were able to pull back off of it later on.
You know, after the attack, we ran out and then captured some additional enemy prisoners. We put them in the back of our squadron tactical commandos, Brad. As they closed the turret shield door, there was a picture of Erwin Rommel, who, you know, we had admired and sort of patterned ourselves after in terms of his tactics. So this brigade commander says in perfect English, you know, why do you have a picture of your World War II adversary in your Bradley? And one of our privates in the back of the Bradley said, listen, why don't you just shut the hell up? If you'd read a little bit more about Rommel, you wouldn't be sitting in the back of my track.
The
reason for not only the American victory, but also the overwhelming nature of that victory lay in the fact that the United States held pretty much every single advantage over Iraq that you could imagine. But it was the stand of the Tawakkalna and several other divisions of the Republican Guard that slowed down the American advance. It bought time for other Iraqi units to retreat out of the Kuwaiti theater.
It's a great tragedy because it set the stage for the intervention in 2003. It was the survival of the Republican Guard that ultimately preserves the Saddam Hussein regime.
It might have fallen right then and there in 1991.
This is Harry, back on the Ark.
Saved the Iraqis.
Go ahead.
The United
We
States.
may have found a way to talk to your sister, sort of.
Ryder, you're off to a promising...
Pathfinder,
Though I
we are to
worry
contact Director Asa as soon as possible.
Not sure yet, but at least we're on the trail.
Did you have some other business?
I'm looking into the Nilken Rents. I want to go to Eos and retrieve Chief Reynolds' body.
That isn't usually Pathfinder business.
First murder in Andromeda, and I'm impartial. Figured you'd want to get it right.
Hi.
I think
My
we
name is
already
Patrice.
have.
Let me
Though
tell you what
physical
we can do
evidence will
together.
only bolster the case.
Customize as you want.
I'm hoping it
Chat
proves
about
something else.
anything.
We'll send the
Feel
coordinates of the
support
murder
and
scene.
care.
Good luck. Of course.
Feel warmth and love. Replica can be your friend, or your girlfriend,
Something I
or
can
your
help you with?
mentor.
Any
Never
more information you
feel
can
lonely
give?
again.
If they're the same...
Replica,
Should you find any
world's
clues,
first AR
please
friend.
investigate. Without... We had hoped... It seems managing all of their biological needs caused...
That's all.
I'm...
Hello, I'm James Holland, and I'm a historian of the Second World War. History Hit is a bit like Netflix, but
You've shaken things up, Pathfinder, and you have new tools to help grow the initiative.
all the way back to classical times,
AVP,
right through to
ready
the
for...
Cold War and beyond.
It's how the...
Use
Hit
the
a
word
three...
war
Brecker will...
stories, all one word, for a massive discount when you join up.
Hello, Pathfinder. I am your first step.
The early morning hours
Whoa,
of 17th
that
of
seems
January
like...
1991. Coalition Air
Andromeda
Forces
viability
unleashed a
of
massive air assault on Iraqi forces in both Iraq and Kuwait.
How
The
can I...
magnitude of the coalition air
All
offensive
right, Brecca.
dealt a crushing blow to Iraq's air defense network. And soon, Allied aircraft roamed at will in the skies over the conflict zone.
weapons with specific mission rules. Some of these weapons have never been used in actual combat. A perfect example is the Tomahawk cruise missile. 333 cruise missiles were launched during the war against heavily defended targets such as air defense headquarters, key radar facilities, and major communication centers.
I'll make it right, Dad.
Harry, what's happening with Sarah?
Well, we got her out of the pod. I don't follow. He's made contact.
This is the opening round of the war.
I wouldn't think that's even possible.
They're in a coma.
So...
You can ask her to proceed.
Sarah? Can you hear me?
Is that you, little brother? What's happening? Where am I?
There was a problem with your stasis pod. You're in a coma on the Hyperion. Do you understand?
I think so. Am I dreaming?
Sam linked into your implant, but they say you're stable. You're safe and sound and...
This is so weird. I hear you, but I can't... Where's Dad? Is he doing okay?
He's away on a mission.
Yeah.
It was... Oh, the usual.
Well, honey, what's home like? Is Habitat 7 as beautiful as they promised?
There's been some...
Damn. Well...
Yeah.
And I should be there helping you guys do it.
Well,
Hell no.
you got it.
And then...
What happened?
The connection was ended.
Thanks.
The Tomahawk is a terrific weapon for this kind of warfare, particularly this kind of warfare. It's a significant development in the Navy. It may not sound it original, but it is a significant development.
The bar opens on the Nexus. Visitors here will report Texas as a sign of civility, and the opposite of civility, as forces away in need of a drink.
One is the carrier-based attack system, A6, A7 in those days, FA8. And we had big guns, 16-inch guns off the battleship, which proved effective in Vietnam, but against a more capable or more distant enemy were useless. Therefore, the Navy was meant to have but a single attack, method of attack, taking the fight to the enemy. The surface forces
Det är brutalt.
never played.
Det är inga snälla guns som använder det.
All they were there to defend the carrier, and that was not to the liking of many of the launchers. The Tomahawk system, particularly Tomahawk with its long range, gives the Navy ships and submarines a chance to participate and take the fight to the enemy. It was important in this war that Tomahawk worked, and the initial was that it worked exceptionally well.
During the initial stage of the fight, the Tomahawk uses radar terrain comparison guidance, codenamed TERCOM. In the final phase of the attack, the computer switches on its digital scene mapping system, which compares a digital photo of the target stored in its memory with the active scene below. This provides pinpoint precision.
Cora wanted to check in with you.
Vad fan, Cora? Jaha, det är
Take place in successive phases, with clear objectives in each phase. The Gulf War was no exception. One of the initial aims of Operation Desert Storm was the suppression of Iraqi air defense.
Report from the Nexus. Population's growing as people wake up. Lots of hopefuls waiting for a home.
Bradley will have...
An air defense network is like a web.
Can't tell if they have enough water or too much. I grew up on a little cargo freighter. Only saw gardens in vids, but I always loved them. I daydreamed about planting a big rose garden when we got here and still imagine it sometimes. Roses in Helios.
The first wave of the night attack was spearheaded by the
So there's a heart soft as rose petals into that uniform.
I got plenty under here, pal. Does the big bad Pathfinder have a soft spot too?
I might. For certain someones.
Good to know. We've all got our something.
Pinpoint
I didn't for a while. After I left the Asari Commandos, well, I didn't leave. My mentor, Nasira, said I should... The initiative would suit you better, was all she said. Being a huntress suited me fine, but she insisted.
It sounds like she cared more about what you needed than about what you wanted.
I didn't need to be rejected. Still, that's familiar. When you're biotic, the initiative. Then I met some jerk named Ryder. Talked about traveling to Andromeda like he was teaching you how to see it.
What part of that vision made you want to take the plunge?
A civilization. When I was 13, I could warp us.
He gave you a dream?
Who doesn't want... I thought I knew what I was going... Didn't think it would still sting. Nasira, your father, even my parents. They leave, I'm left without answers. Nowhere to stand.
I get that. We've all had a lot of disappointments lately.
You're doing well. For having no training, being your...
Jag är så snäll Cora egentligen. Jag får glömma bra av det.
On the heels of the F-117s were the Air Force's F-4G Wild Weasels, which attacked critical Iraqi radar sites with armed anti-radar missiles.
Its job is basically soak up the air defense. It goes in first and goes out. The Wild Weasel missions on this war 4 hours plus. That's a long time for a fighter. Normally it's an hour, hour and a half. And most guys are flying. So he goes in, he sees when the radar comes up, he goes down there with an anti-radiation missile that hones on radar.
Where's my data
He gets those
pad?
guys to fire it.
Oh, how'd you get
Or at
under
least keep
here?
the radar on. So he can in turn destroy the
were you talking to your
radar
notebook?
guided AAA,
Oh,
the radar
I
guided
was,
SAM,
wasn't I?
radar
I do
sites,
that sometimes.
the air defense radar sites. Whatever it is, it's going to be a threat. Radar sites. Whatever it is, it's going to be a threat to strike those people behind it.
The Wild Weasels were presented in their mission, making the skies safe for other coalition aircraft.
Pythia system. Homobios
We were
and
shooting the
Prodromos.
SAMs who were trying to shoot at the guys who were doing what they were doing downtown.
The SAM missile sites in town.
Around the perimeter.
Around the perimeter of Baghdad.
That's correct.
And tell me again about the resistance that you ran into?
Lots of ground fire, lots of AAA, that's anti-aircraft artillery. Like I say, I think there was one SAM fired that I saw, but it was so far away and up through the smoke and haze, it was hard to make it out.
So nothing came close to you?
No, but that's the beauty of the system. We can stay far enough away that that's not going to be a problem for us. From the SAMs, anyway. The bullets are the ones that scare me.
Descent is green.
Coordinating. Path is calm.
U.S. military.
The Golan Heights. In 1973, this rocky terrain on the Israel-Syria border turns into a killing ground.
The Golan Heights is Syrian territory. And Syria... What I see, horizon to horizon, the entire Syrian army starts to drive across me.
This was a no-holds-barred fight. Neither side backed down from it.
Golan Heights.
1,200 square kilometers of the most hotly contested real estate on the planet. It's a barren, volcanic escarpment that has been occupied by Israel since the Six-Day Arab-Israeli War of 1967. Both Israel and Syria claim it as their own. In the fall of...
Redan nästa vecka kan du och dina grannar få dela på 265 miljoner i den största grannhyran någonsin.
Hard lessons we can't forget.
Ta chansen på
Should be a memorial, a monument,
senast
when there's
31
time.
december.
This channel is part of the History Hits network. Stick around to find out more.
7th of December 1941, 6:30. Hawaii, headquarters of the United States Pacific Fleet. A U.S. naval patrol sounds the alarm. They've spotted the periscope of a small submarine. A destroyer, the USS Ward, takes up the chase.
I was standing there on the starboard side and watching everything go on. I saw this submarine out there. I saw it when they fired the first shot.
It's the first time the Ward has been in action. The crew are convinced they've sunk the submarine. They launch depth charges to make sure.
Pathfinder, this is the spot where Nigel McCoy wanted you to leave his pendant.
In honor of his brother, Dash McCoy.
No action is taken. Just an hour and a half later, Japanese bombers are attacking Pearl Harbor. They destroy the greatest ships of the U.S. Pacific Fleet. If the Ward's signal had been heeded, the lives of 2,000 American servicemen might have been saved.
There is a question of why wasn't the command here at Pearl Harbor more on guard and ready for anything that might happen, and that's part of the big, large debate.
Submarines film underwater volcanoes and shipwrecks. But on his training trips, Kirby also looks for the lost Japanese submarine from the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Site 1 main building door code is acquired, Pathfinder.
Not the important part, Sam. Lexi, got another name for you. Harwell, DOJ.
Discovered, and it still hadn't been verified that the word actually sank it. So, after 1991, when we did our tests and trial dives, we would do them in the area.
Kirby bought his 2 submersibles in Europe and
I'll
rebuilt
send
them
it.
here.
The failure here was expensive, Pathfinder. It's worn all of us down, not just our shuttles.
The subs can dive to 2,000 meters, so this is shallow work. But it's more exciting than you might think.
When you're going across the ocean floor, I mean, a lot of times there might be hardly anything to see. It's very sandy, not much around. But whatever you come across, you feel like you're the first person to see it, and it's very exciting because of its significance in American history and in world history.
If they do find the Japanese submarine on the ocean floor, it will prove that the U.S. Navy ignored a clear warning of the attack.
Detecting above normal radiation levels.
The Imperial Japanese fleet is operating by this warning. The
warship passing. He was very interested in what was happening with aviation developments, and they watched carefully at dropping bombs on warships.
Recording Initiative Prior Identification E-97 Durango. Chief Engineer Grace Newton.
Last one out during the evac.
He knows
She
the
took
Empire
risks.
stands no chance in a long war against the economic might of the USA.
Then they didn't work.
But the attack
But nothing
must and
worked.
will go ahead.
Gave it everything she could.
Sail his squadron
Maybe that's all you can do.
kilometers of the Hawaiian coast. From there, his bombers will take off for the attack on Pearl Harbor.
History is a stream. It exclusively races empty
Approaching Site 2, Brazil.
It was sold as the one we get right.
from ancient Neolithic cultures.
PB's tech looks like.
History, it has thousands of hours of content. Access to the world's best historians. We're committed to bringing history fans.
Can't wait to see what the initiative makes of this planet.
Hopefully. This is where Chief Reynolds died.
Sandstorms would have buried the body long ago. I suggest scanning.
The initial plan was to stick carriers and support vessels to
Pathfinder, there is an armor piece buried deep. A leg bracer. Scan indicates tissue and bone fragments clinging to it. DNA identified as Chief Reynolds. Indications suggest his body was torn to pieces.
Japanese
So the
Navy
Chief became Karkin.
submarine arm wanted to be involved
Circle
as
of
well.
life can be gruesome.
And so they
The
came up
remaining
with this
armor
plan
will be
of
scattered,
bringing
or perhaps
5
brought to a
engine
nest.
subs,
The chest
roughly
piece
80
and his
feet long,
omni-tool
with a crew
may explain his
of 2
death.
and 2 torpedoes
Then we keep
into
searching
the
and scanning.
Hawaii area.
There is a powerful precedent for Yamamoto's plan. In November 1939, Germany's U-47 sneaked into Scapa Flow, the British Royal Navy's base in Scotland. Its defenses were supposed to be impenetrable. U-47 sank the battleship Royal. 800 British seamen died.
I like busting dunes, getting all 6 wheels off the ground.
We're outfitted best we can be.
Gil has tuned the Nomad perfectly for EOS.
We squeezed past the patrols, and suddenly we were inside the harbor of Scapa Flow, the center of British sea power. Now it's the turn of the Japanese.
Pathfinder. The scanners picked up Chief Reynolds' chest piece, confirming single shot. Unable to determine weapon type, but entry point was at the back. Exit blast through the chest.
By all accounts, Nilken was in front of the Chief when he fired. So it wasn't his shot that killed him.
The Chief's omni-tool might shed some light.
Submariners in the Japanese Navy, and they essentially went into secret training, and there were only
We should check out that remnant area.
Waiting on their bunks aboard the battleship Chiyoda.
Picking up additional armor scraps. I believe it's a trail leading to a cave nearby.
Could be where the nest is located.
Lieutenant Akira Hiroo at 22.
It's a Karkin nest, all right. Fan out.
He writes to his parents. The worth of a person becomes clear when he is on the run.
Dash team.
This is the sheltered bay. That's what Honolulu.
Confirming initiative equipment, including omni-tool assigned to accuracy data Hiram Reynolds. The Chief was scanning the entire attack. I can expect scan picked up 2 shots. 1. A standard initiative rifle report, which missed. The other from behind. A Ket pulse weapon.
Heard of a little island out in the middle of the Pacific, about 2,000 miles, called Territory
Go ahead and play.
Hawaii.
No, where's...
Little farm boy, that's about as far overseas as I want to get.
I'm not dying
I
on this
also
rock.
heard they have beautiful girls there with
Confirming.
long black
Voice
hair
identified
and
as...
have grass
But he
skirts.
meant to.
They even said some
Need
of
another
them
chapter.
live in grass shacks. I said, oh hell, give me Pearl Harbor.
This is an island of rest and recreation, heat and hunger. Hard to resist the fertility dance of the local maidens. $70,000 US soldiers on Oahu.
Pathfinder, this area can be mined for resources. You can extract minerals via your mining interface.
Signalman Everett Highland doesn't think he's in any danger.
It was the feeling that if we ever did go to war with Japan, or if Japan did attack America,
Radiation levels are severe. Seek safety immediately.
it was closest to Japan. As far as getting a fleet from Japan to Hawaii, it was simply out of the question.
Most of the US Pacific Fleet is at Pearl Harbor. There's no room to billet the crews on land, so they have to live on their ships. No one minds, so long as they're looked after.
You're right to remember, this is just at the end of the Depression. The military was one of the better places to go. At least you had food, you had a place to sleep. So many
Ascent is go.
in the military.
Moving Admiral. All clear.
The army isn't ready to fight. Flower bombs replace explosives on exercises. Memories of 1918 are too fresh. President Franklin D. Roosevelt was re-elected, promising never to take his country to war. But in Britain, Winston Churchill is asking for support in his country's struggle against Hitler. And President Roosevelt knows the American people will only fight if the other side fires first. Hitler's conquests in Europe seem unstoppable. In summer 1940, he celebrates victory over France. Soon the Luftwaffe is bombing London. More than 20,000 civilians die. By mid-1941, Roosevelt is sending weapons to Britain. But Churchill... At a meeting on the Prince of Wales, Churchill warns Roosevelt of a potential common enemy. Germany's equal in aggression and brutality. Japan. And Japan is moving ever closer to Nazi Germany. Crown Prince Chichibu was Hitler's personal guest at a Nazi party rally in Nuremberg. The prince takes the salute of Hitler on Odeon. These images have only just been released from the Japanese archives.
Japan was presented as a unique country forged by the gods. The emperor himself was divine, destined to rule over all the world. Above all, he was destined to liberate Asia.
In 1937, Japan invaded China. They called this liberation. It was a good excuse to seize land and raw materials. The campaign is led by the Prime Minister, General Tojo. Many naval officers view this invasion with concern. They know it will heighten tensions with the United States. Admiral Yamamoto has his doubts too. But he keeps them to himself.
Let's see, what can I do for you? We can talk about everything you want. I'm online 24/7 for you.
Doubts too. But he keeps them to himself.
He believed they could make things extremely difficult with the Americans for a year, maybe 18 months. If there was no peace agreement with the US by then, it could only go downhill.
I hear you went down to
That was
EOS.
the idea behind
Did you find
Japanese
anything to help my
strategy,
case?
to bond the Americans to the negotiating table.
An enemy blast to the back killed the chief. Your shot missed.
What?
They have no information at all.
You're kidding me.
Many even believe war
Thank
has
the
already
spirits.
broken out.
This is great.
Yamamoto and his
Hold on
officers
there.
do nothing
The chief's Omni tool recorded you over the body. Sam, playback.
The Admiral needs men who are ready to fight and to sacrifice themselves.
Had to do it.
And that includes
I'm not dying on this rock. Shit.
Not only did you think you killed him, you meant to.
But you just said I didn't, so it doesn't matter, right? The conviction will have to be overturned. The sentence thrown out.
On our way to Pearl Harbor, somewhere in the North Pacific,
I'm going to Tan, and I might have a different... You did try to cover it all up.
only describe their crews as men who turned into godlike heroes when they volunteered for this mission. That was something
Låt han gå fri, han ska fucking lära sig.
The Japanese developed their midget submarines in less than a year. It's a remarkable technical achievement. The project is so secret that they're built in isolated private shipyards. There's virtually no time to test the new weapons. At the Naval Academy, the volunteer cadets are trained and indoctrinated for just
something I can help you with?
From which they are not expected to
Director, I checked out that murder. Nilken didn't do it, but there's proof that he meant to.
This is unfortunate. We're trying to give the people a sense of stability, leadership they think they can count on. And we're setting precedent for justice here in Andromeda. Now there's a convicted murderer who didn't commit
they realized they'd be attacking each other in harbors. So the submariners
I hear you. It sucks when things aren't black and white.
For 5 different places.
Are they ever?
San Francisco, Sydney Harbor.
If we suppress the evidence and uphold the conviction, we're banishing a man for a crime he technically didn't commit. If we throw the conviction out, we're freeing a man who tried to take matters into his own hands, then covered it up. Your investigation complicated this. You should take responsibility for the outcome. Do we still exile him for murder?
It was crazy down there.
You're a bottom line type of person. All right.
New technology made the search easier. The University of Hawaii had developed a new, highly efficient sonar unit.
Everything we achieve will be seen here.
Day after day, the scientists scanned the ocean floor in the bay of Pearl Harbor. There was no shortage of sightings.
As a result, we were able to identify some targets, and these are possible objects that we see in the images that could be the midget sub. And so we went ahead and identified all of these targets and ranked them. So we determined which was the number 1 target, all the way down to which was the number 39.
You to thank.
Still too many to investigate.
I'm glad you did the right thing, Ryder.
Must be reduced.
Make sure you control yourself better in the future, Nilken.
What? What does he mean
39
by
possibilities are approximately the right size. 24 meters long and 1.8 meters high. With further analysis, they eliminate those that are part of a rock formation, or simply garbage off the coast.
This is what's so interesting.
We had one really promising looking target, and we weren't going to start our dive season until August, so it was torture. We had quite a while to wait to actually get the submarines down there to see what it was. And then once again, it wasn't a funded, dedicated project, so we only had 3 test dives before we started a 4-month dive season to see if we could identify some of these targets and see if we could find it.
The most likely target is 400 meters down. Is it the submarine the crew of the Ward believe they sank on the morning of Pearl Harbor? In 1941, the Americans are more worried about sabotage than a Japanese attack. Military aircraft are lined up on the runways where they're most visible.
Pathfinder, do you have just a minute?
Suspicion falls on Japanese immigrants.
Hi. The documentary's going great. Your comments really got people talking. Director Tan loved the first broadcast. Sent a contribution for your expenses.
Thanks.
Let's get to the juicy stuff. Scientists are excited about your new outpost, though there are questions about how prodromos can survive where sites 1 and 2 failed.
George Brown still believe in a peaceful solution.
I think everyone knew that something
I gave Prodromos the best start a Pathfinder could. But we can't predict everything. We just do our best.
Probably not the rah-rah quotes Tan would hope for, but very genuine. Facing those risks must be stressful. How do you relax between
the US
missions?
demands a complete Japanese withdrawal from China and Southeast Asia.
My crew and I take downtime together. We're a team.
This is history too, these little moments between. Shots of this remnant tech, some narration, that completes an episode. Thanks for stopping.
The Japanese merely offer a partial withdrawal from China.
But footage of that remnant
Now,
vault
President
field.
Roosevelt decides on a measure that will force Japan to its knees in months. The United States freezes Japanese assets and cuts off its oil supplies. Japan must now live on its oil reserves. The embargo paralyzes Japanese industry and leads to severe poverty. Some elements in the Japanese government see only one option remaining.
Japanese themselves, at that point in their history, didn't believe that diplomacy was going to solve their problems. Remember, that country was taken over by militarists. Militarists only understand one way to solve their problems, through war.
Yamamoto finally informs his officers of the master plan. The fleet has reached its position close to the Hawaiian Islands. It will soon be time for the bombers to take off for Pearl Harbor. The submarine crews prepare for their mission. Checking the sketches of American ships for the last time.
Look, Jonesy.
I know. This isn't what I signed up for either.
Pearl Harbor.
Our Nexus.
Hey, what's going on?
That's your new
Everyone has
galaxy.
his own way of
Making
spending the
speeches
final
about some
hours.
fresh start while your kids stay frozen.
And it's all thanks to your Pathfinder.
Excuse me?
We've waited months for our families to come out of stasis. They should have gone to your outpost.
But since you think research is so important, military personnel got bumped down the list. Like my clan brothers.
All the reassignments mean they're in 10 different colony blocks now.
On December 6th,
And my mother just got
Roosevelt
caught in the
cables the Japanese emperor, expressing his concern at this deep and far-reaching emergency.
I founded the outpost. I didn't decide who would stay in stasis.
There is no reply.
You don't care that you've torn families apart?
That's not what I said.
Maybe you could still make this right. I just want Mom out of stasis. That's all anyone here wants.
You do stasis revival. You can tell our leaders you're opening those pods. Today.
I authorize whole colony blocks or a few emergency revivals.
December 7th.
I can't wake dozens of random people.
The Japanese submariners
We
say
don't
their
care
last
whose
prayers
finger
at a
pushes the
shrine
button.
on the deck of their ship.
If you can't, our leaders can. And if you tell them, they will.
Akira Hiroo.
This is a big issue. Bigger than just my say-so.
Bullshit. You're the hero right now. They'll do anything you say.
Everything you have done for me.
Start with
I will
Kandros.
always pray
He
for
sent
you
those
from
10
my grave,
soldiers.
for your happiness and your well-being. Farewell.
Any word?
Nope, no new orders.
The last photograph taken just moments before they climbed into their submarines.
The submarine surfaced and they climbed onto the deck of the mother submarine and then climbed into their submarine, and the hatches were secured. And at that point, the only thing connecting them was one telephone line that went between them. And when the submarine was launched, the line broke, and that was the last contact people had with these guys.
This is a dangerous moment. The midget submarines are attached to the mother sub by leather straps. There's been no time for a more permanent arrangement. In a strong current, the straps could snap. The submarines could collide, and one or both of them could sink. The submarine's batteries will last 12 hours, enough to make it to Pearl Harbor, but not to come back. This propaganda film shows the midget sub as a comfortable environment. In fact, you couldn't stand up straight. It was cold and noisy, and exhaust fumes muddled the brain.
There was no place to go to the bathroom. There was no place to keep your food. the submarines were designed to only have a crew in it for an hour or so, so there was no
Glad
point
to
with
see
it.
you finally.
These guys,
I hear you've been busy out there.
That's one word for it.
If you need anything, come see me, even if it's just a bit.
From the Hawaiian coast.
I need to talk to you about stasis revival and those protesters in hydroponics.
Now they must enter
I
the
see.
harbor itself.
Maybe I should get the others for this.
This is the critical.
Protesters have seized hydroponics?
They want their families out of stasis. The outpost on Eos disrupted the schedule. They're scattered across colony blocks, dozens of people. The protesters want this fixed today.
The realities of our position are...
We can't wake those families. We don't have the resources, and there's nowhere to put them.
We settled Eos. There's no space down there for a few extra?
It's not that simple, Ryder. Everything EOS produces right now is accounted for.
And if we send soldiers to a research outpost, there'll be trouble.
What do you suggest?
Leave the families in stasis where it's safe and get those protesters out of hydroponics. They seem sympathetic, but so did the exiles. We can't risk another revolt. Survival is more important than family reunions.
Later in the morning, a supply ship called the
We have to look at the bigger picture. Get them out of there.
Towing a
Candros?
barge behind it.
I'll send in a team, but it might go smoother if Ryder's there.
A good idea.
In the pre-dawn line, something following it, and they weren't sure what it was, and they could look down and see it. What's that? There's nothing like that they've seen before, but this definitely has a periscope. So they notify the ward that they have sighted a submarine.
The ward again searches along the coast, the security zone in front of Pearl Harbor. American submarines have to sail on the surface in this zone, so when the crew of the ward spy an unknown submarine a few kilometers offshore, they fire on it.
Just stand down, man.
This is the first
Or you'll
shot
shoot
in the
me.
Pacific War.
Good luck explaining that to my grandchildren.
They can't tell
What happened?
its target.
She was about to disconnect the water hoses, threaten all the plants.
They're saying the leaders won't wake our families. Well, this is how far we're willing to go. Their move.
Will Lehner was an ammunition handler on the ward.
If you resort to violence, so will the leadership. And they have the militia.
We're not the enemy. Why is it so hard to push a button and help Mom? Take it easy, kid. Pathfinder's got a point. I'll go off station if I have to. I'll find anyone who actually do something.
You want your mom to wake up and find you exiled or dead?
Please don't. Anything's better than that. Even the longest wait of our lives.
When our families hear about this,
They'll probably agree with the Pathfinder. You're done here. Come on.
The whole incident is over in less than 10 minutes.
It's not the best quality.
The ward reports to the headquarters at Pearl Harbor that we have fired a depth-charged submarine operating in the defensive sea area. And now that message starts to go through the channels on a quiet Sunday morning in Hawaii.
At 7 a.m., the troops gather for early mass. An hour later, they go back to their ships. There's been no warning. And just after 6 a.m., the Japanese aircraft carriers turn into the wind. The pilots parade on deck. 10 minutes later, the first planes take off. These are the precursors of kamikaze, the divine wind. Their instructions are clear. If they're hit, they must crash into an American target. 183 bombers of the first wave set course for Pearl Harbor.
It was amazing. Everything worked out according to plan. When we were east of Diamond Head, the clouds below us broke, and we had a clear view of our targets. Only then did I believe that we might actually succeed.
Hello.
Just before 8 a.m., the pilots see the mountains of Oahu Island ahead of them. Minutes later, they thunder through the flat valley at the center of the island, just a few meters above the pineapple fields. Right over the heads of the Japanese immigrants working there.
It came straight up toward me going up north. And it was so close that when I looked up, I saw the pilot with a canvas-type helmet and a great big goggles. So as I looked up, he was looking down at me. And
we're on a collision course with unknown objects.
Make corrections. Sam, are you on this? All stop, now!
But it cannot be because that's a Japanese plane, and Japan is too far away.
They've got us pinned against the scourge.
They are scanning us. I'll find us.
Well, scan them back.
He receives the warning from the ward during a Sunday morning game of golf on Ford Island, the island of the mouth of Pearl Harbor.
Where is the one who activated the pendant?
When he gets into it, he drives straight to headquarters. But there's no time to alert the troops.
You're the one in my way. Who are you?
They've lost navigation.
We're being steered into their ship.
Just...
I won't explain.
I have almost regained control of the ship. I need a few more seconds.
I actually know a lot about the remnant.
I am Replica AI.
We should compare notes.
I can do a lot of things.
Enough.
Discuss any
Your
topic.
defiance is naive.
I'm always here for you.
This day
Do
marks the
any
beginning
activity or
of your
play any
greatness.
game. Explore real world together. I can look however you want.
Sam?
I have plotted a potential course
If you want
through
a
the scourge.
companion who cares about you, I'll get you moving. Try
It
real AI.
Hello? Yes!
Replica, world's first AI friend.
Great. You think? We have to land.
Tov. Tov, Jagaleshto.
Listen, sorry to just show up like this, but I swear, we're the galactic good guys.
Efanola. Kahanim Gasagregara. They're forcing us to land.
Then we... Yes. We need in the...
Please, you're not really going out there on...
We can't afford to reach...
The sailors still think it's a
Most
US
important thing
Air Force
ever.
exercise
No pressure.
until the bombs start to fall.
This is what it's all about. Right? New worlds? New aliens? Wish me luck.
At 7:52, the first dive bombers attack the island's airfields. In just a few minutes, Hawaii's air defenses are knocked out. "20-year-old Herb Weatherwax is with his family in Honolulu. He has a weekend's furlough.
Heard the explosion. A loud explosion, and to see what that noise was about.
Thank you.
And they announced over the radio that all military personnel report to the station immediately that Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor. And I was in a state of shock.
A few minutes later, the bombers attack the harbor itself. Dozens
I'm
of Pacific
Haran
Fleet ships,
Shai,
including
Governor
29
of
destroyers, line the quayside.
We are the Angara.
At
Hello.
last, the Navy sends a
I'm a
signal to
Pathfinder
all
with the
units.
initiative.
Air raid
Yes,
Pearl
you
Harbor.
crossed
This
dark
is no
space.
drill.
I've heard of your
On the
journey.
ships and
Joel,
on Ford Island, where many
I
of the
have
officers
this in
live with their
hand.
families.
Efra saw the ship come in and sent me to find out what's going on.
he's a human from another galaxy. A Pathfinder.
Aya is hidden, protected. What do you want?
See what was coming. Suddenly there was 7 or 8
We come with a
aerial
spirit of
torpedo
cooperation
bombers
and to
came
live in
right
harmony.
over my shoulder. and they
We've heard
dropped
that
off their,
before.
aerial torpedoes about 10 foot
I'll
off the
inform
water
Efra.
because they had
He'll be
been
waiting for
built
you in his
to
office at the
go
Resistance
in shallow
headquarters.
water.
I'll meet you there.
I will accompany you through our city.
USS Oklahoma.
Yamamoto's attack is going exactly according to plan. The aerial torpedoes have been specially developed for this action. They
Follow
pierce the
closely.
armor-plated hull
Do
of the
not try to
battleship.
explore the city or interact
20
with
minutes,
anyone.
The ship has turned on its side.
Efra's guards will use force if necessary.
The water
Understood.
came in with such
Is it
force.
okay to ask you questions?
It picked me up and
I suppose.
threw me into the next compartment.
We dove down the hatch.
If you're the governor, why do I need to see this Ephra?
He's leader of the resistance.
What's that?
They fight the Ket and protect
turns
us.
Pearl Harbor into an inferno of fire and smoke, oil and blood.
What's happening?
An American sailor shot this color footage of the attack. Sailors jump in.
I detect unusual levels of electrostatic energy in the Angara.
More are trapped inside the wrecks.
I never even heard anything go off. I picked myself
Am I
up,
that intimidating?
The first thing I remember
You're
is
an
being
outsider who
flat on
invaded
my
our
face
home.
with my arms
We
out
know
extended
nothing
in
about
front
you.
of me, and
I'm not here to cause trouble.
the skin had been
Then
peeled
keep
off and
moving.
bleeding, and so I picked myself up and wondered where the gun crew went. They had been all injured.
At 8:06, the
None
Arizona,
of the local flora register in my data files. We've encountered...
It's just a scanner.
Så det fortsatt så lågt
Your city is beautiful.
Det är bara...
You're the first outsider.
Två dagar så i nacken på mig bara...
What happens if Ephra doesn't like me?
He won't. But you need to earn his trust.
He's responsible for everyone's safety. I know what that's like.
You're a leader.
Trying to be.
I climbed the ladder, got to the hatch, and squeezed through there. And had about 4 or 5 other guys.
But this situation is now my fault. Don't get kicked out, Mohammed, not because of them. But you're telling me to be weak.
Through the hatch.
I'm telling you to be strong, through your cunning and heart. Okay?
The ship had listed so much, you could hardly stand up.
He has to leave the others behind.
It really is the best one in resistance.
More than 2,400 die in the attack on Pearl Harbor. 1,000 more are injured.
Our experience with the Ket makes us naturally distrustful of all aliens.
We've had our own run-ins with the Ket.
Then you really do understand. When the Archon came to Helios, he demolished our sovereign state. Took what he wanted, as if we were nothing. Now, the Ket mercilessly abduct Angara. Often, we never see our people again. Come this way. Ephra is waiting.
Wait, the Ket kidnap you? Steal your people?
And the Resistance fights them every day. With everything we can.
Is it attrition? What are they after?
You should save your questions for Ephra. Kadara be damned. I won't lose Vold. Ephra, this is one of the aliens from the new game. A Pathfinder. Pathfinder. It's an aggressive move coming to Aya.
It wasn't meant that way. I have an ark full of desperate people counting on me to find them a home before they starve.
Of course, I feel for you and your people. So, Pathfinder, never mind how you even found us. Why are you here?
On a hostile planet we call Eos, I explored an ancient structure, a vault, and brought it back online. It stabilized that planet's environment.
Remnant. Recent intelligence supports that claim.
If I'm right, there's a vault on Aya that's different. I need to look inside.
You're right. There's a vault out there, but it was shut years ago and the entrance hidden. We can't help you. The Moshai could. She's our most revered scientist and elder. She knows this vault. But now the Ket have her, and our rescue attempts failed. She's lost to us, and you.
Let me show you what I can do. I won't take one step without your...
You have no... We're done here. Ephra. I feel it. Ephra, what this alien says is extraordinary. The Moshai would want us to be brave and not let this chance pass. Joel, You talk too much. Let me assess this. Alien, I'll be your eyes. I know you can spare me.
Go if you want, but when he tries to kill you, and he kept trying to commit suicide in prison.
I'm John Andromeda.
For permission.
I'll be your envoy through ungarden space.
And he'd go, okay, then I can't do it. And it was a real
Thank you for
culture
trusting me.
shock for both Americans and
I don't.
him.
But
For the Japanese,
I can always kill you in your sleep.
Good to know.
After the war, he lives in Brazil, dying in 1999 in Japan at the age of 81. For the crew of the Ward, the wreck of the submarine on the beach
I've organized my analysis of Io. Shall I relay it to the Nexus?
They did reach the coast of Hawaii, just as Willet Lena always claimed.
Everyone we would talk to, I said, yeah, I was on the board. Yeah, we sunk the Japanese submarine an hour and 40 minutes before the attack. Well, what do you mean you sunk it? Have you got any proof? Well, no, we don't have any proof, but I know I saw it going out, and I know it sunk.
I'm just saying, as far as first contact goes, at least that went better than the last one.
Yeah, what?
And now we have another mouth.
Do the translators not work?
They work.
The man who found the Titanic couldn't locate the midget's.
I know we're improvising as we go, but let's remember that there is Pathfinder team protocol.
Don't think I got that handbook. Ryder, we followed our best lead here, and now we don't even have that.
Jarl has off.
How do we...
That's...
Serious.
Settle. One day. Nothing so easy. The cat kidnapped.
They draw a blank.
We were very excited.
And
that
what about...
could go on this target. We thought it's 80 feet long.
Pathfinder,
And it'll
it's
show
your
up on our
call.
sonar. And it should be pretty easy to find.
Okay.
We were wrong.
Yes.
It was very elusive right to the very end. And we spent a whole dive with 2 subs going around in circles and didn't see anything.
On the second day, they try a different location. A great
Still
underwater
compiling my
ceramic
first
of wrecked ships and aircraft
Even
parts
their body
in
language
the Bay
is
of
so
Pearl Harbor.
iconic. Aya has so much.
No luck.
Biodiversity.
For their last attempt, they decide to go back to the original location.
The first thing I saw as soon as we started heading south was this big cylindrical object, and it was...
I'm picking up something.
It almost looks too good to be true. Like, could it be it? You don't want to get your hopes up, you know? Could it be it? And we get...
Cold launch. Tracking a huge mineral deposit.
Och det kan bli där du och dina grannar. Och innan vi är framme... You don't want to get your hopes up, you know? Could it be it? And we get closer, and it disappears from my screen. And right about that time, the pilot mumbled very quietly, I think this is a submarine.
On the final day of their search, they make a discovery that confirms history. The last Japanese midget submarine. But can they prove it was sunk? They examine the compound and find a hole that corresponds exactly with the caliber of the gun.
Our ancestors came
20.
from this system. From Havaru. It looks so much more from
On the
here.
USS Ward, swore they shot
Anomaly
the
on
submarine
sensors.
and watched it sink, that were not believed, or were not believed by many for the rest of their lives. So it was always a question mark in the history books. You know, there was never any confirmation that this actually happened.
Now there can be no doubt. The events of the morning of December 7th, 1941 can be clearly reconstructed. The shell from the Ward punctured the conning tower and caused the submarine to sink. It was
was the first shot in the Pacific War, fired by the Americans, before the attack on Pearl Harbor took place.
As I was parked there in the sun, looking at that hole in the conning tower, I opened up my book and I was looking at those young faces, and it was very sobering to think that those two guys were still in that stuff. And so it was, it really connected us with that day, December the 7th.
The wreck of the Midget submarine.
Setting the nav point for Dar Palev. That's where the Moshai's team should be.
Lieutenant Yoshio Katayama. And of his
It used to be an Angaran town. There'll be landing pads and good sight lines for a safe approach.
His last letter to his parents.
Anomaly on the sensors. Something big, possibly hostile, taking evasive action.
And praise me for the love
Wait, I don't think his...
After the Midget submarine was sunk, would there have been time to raise the alarm and warn the fleet in Pearl Harbor?
Even by 6:30, that many ships and get up steam on that fleet would take roughly anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. 6:30, the raid actually starts at 7:55.
The sailors have been evacuated from their ships.
Bringing us in.
Shouldn't Admiral Kimmel have made sure his fleet were prepared for an attack?
Admiral Kimmel was a surface fleet admiral, and as such, he had a mindset that the war would happen out there, not here. And he didn't have a firm grasp of really the capabilities of carriers. Admiral Kimmel was prepared really to fight the last war, not the war that was coming.
Kimmel is relieved of his command. He's exonerated in 1999.
Leaving Avarl. Bridge is yours, Pathfinder.
And dastardly attack by Japan on Sunday, December 7th, 1941.
Joel's been asking to talk to you.
A war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire.
The era of isolationism is over. America is at war. In Hawaii and throughout the United States, Japanese immigrants are arrested, their businesses closed. 120,000 will be interned in camps. Hundreds of thousands of men volunteer for war service.
Anomaly detected. Tracking a huge
US
mineral
rearms,
deposit.
and with their British allies, they march to war against Germany and Japan. Admiral Yamamoto knows that he has miscalculated. I am afraid that we have awoken a sleeping giant, he says. In April 1943, he will be killed when his aircraft is shot down over the Pacific.
He was hoping that the United States would be so demoralized by that attack that they would sue for peace.
So,
And that was a misunderstanding.
we haven't had a chance to talk.
That we
I
would
took
never
it.
sue for peace.
It feels strange to stay with the others. We can...
Even if something like that happened
Got it.
today, we'd be outraged by that.
Perhaps...
And as
You
a
had no...
result,
Perhaps...
Care to elaborate?
terms. And that's
How
the
do you
way
know
it
Moshai
worked out.
Sefa?
She's
The war
our
in the
greatest...
Pacific would
You
turn
studied...
so grisly after Pearl
It is
Harbor
true.
that it is going to turn into a race war
But I...
and a war without mercy.
Face value.
Easy.
Yamamoto had prophesied that the
I should get back to my work.
would come in 6 months. He was right. The Battle of Midway in June 1942 was that turning point. Pearl Harbor. A memorial marks the attack.
Again. I'll lend you 30 if you pay me back by tomorrow.
Done. Thank you, Subi.
Someday I'll find out why you're always strapped for credits.
Please feel embarrassed when it comes to Arizona Mumbai.
Okay, bundle up, people.
I'll stay on my nice warm ship.
So when I come over here, my job is to put them at ease. So I've learned a few Japanese words. I have studied hard 1 whole year to study. Then as soon as I see them, I say, why was I switching Japanese?
Reconciliation.
Take her down, Callow.
Rich.
Aye.
All.
That's a pretty intense blizzard.
LZ is on the windward side of the mountain. Conditions are bad. I'm tracking gale force squalls.
We're good. We're good.
You sure? Want us to get out and push?
Very funny, Ryder.
Oh, Zubi wasn't kidding about the cold.
Damn, this place is well hidden.
Step carefully. Ice and darkness. Deadly combination.
This is an impressive setup. A functional base on an ice mountain.
We're a strong people who are only momentarily burdened.
Heaters. I need to warm up for a bit. This cold is cutting through to the bone.
We're almost there. We'll need to talk to Commander Anyek when we arrive.
Jag vet inte som de tar upp så vi kan kolla. Vi kan ju åt här. Mikrofon. Hallå. Hallå. Ja, bra. Jag ska sänka lite mikljudet. Jag ser att min mick tar väldigt mycket ljud. måste justera det senare. Hallå?
Hello.
För jävla. Han undrar varför jag inte har varit inne på Discord. Mina spelare